Hey guys, it's Becca. Oh, I just have so much to talk about. Okay, so I started writing my notes for this video, which usually takes maybe 10, 15 minutes or something. And then literally hours later, I had somehow accidentally written out my entire life autobiography, including every decision I'd ever made that brought me to this point and every mistake I'd ever made. And at some point I was just like, oh my God, Becca, no one needs to know this. So I'm gonna try and be more focused, but there will be some little details about my life at the beginning, and I'll put the timestamps if you just want to see the art stuff. But also, if, I don't know, any of you guys do want to know every detail of my life, I wrote it all down. So I don't want to pressure you to know everything about me, but you totally could. So anyway, moving on. So I've been in Rome for almost a month now, which is so mind-blowing. It's weird. Some days go by so slow, they feel like they take an eternity, but the entire experience has just been flying by. Time is so strange in that way. I have been in school for 2 weeks now, and I'm not quite ready to talk too much about the school because I'm still kind of trying to figure out how it works. My experience here so far has been very, very different than any academic experience I've had in the United States, so I don't feel like I can really explain it quite yet. So I absolutely will. I will do a video about the school and give you more details about the teachers and the classes and everything. But I need a little more time to kind of get my thoughts in order about that so I can give it an accurate representation. So one thing I did want to talk about that has been just an absolutely wonderful, lovely, amazing surprise has been how much I have enjoyed getting to know my classmates and admiring their work and just feeling really inspired by their skill and their talent and their work ethic. So maybe this sounds like most people would feel like this, but for me, just indulge me in a small story. So when I went to college, I studied graphic design, and the program that I was in was very competitive. And I always felt a little bit kind of alienated from my classmates. And part of this was because I am really kind of innately wired in a competitive way, and I'd grown up sort of believing that that was the best way to be based on my activities and who I have always been. But this program did really leave me with this lasting impression that having a competitive nature was necessary for survival. So we did a lot of client pitch projects where you literally show your work and the client gets to pick which one is the best. Or we did actual competitions where there was some money involved or recognition in some way. So when I left college, I left with this idea that there was a limited amount of work to be had, and I really had this total scarcity mindset where I felt like other people were obstacles to my success. And this was something that I ultimately realized is patently not true. That's not an accurate mindset. But it also was just a really sad moment for me when I looked back on my college experience, and I just was so dismissive of people. And I think I hurt a lot of people too, just because I thought that was the only way to succeed. I thought there was a limited amount of resources and other people were not there for friendship or camaraderie. They were just obstacles, challenges in my way to my success. So that is something that has been very eye-opening, that recognition, and it's been something that I've been working on a lot in my adult life, is trying to rewire that mentality. And so when I got to school here, and I did just feel such a connection with my classmates, and I love meeting them and looking at their work, and I don't feel like it takes away from me in any way. That just felt like such a huge success because as you know, on my channel and with my art and with all of this, I'm focused on mindset. That's why I'm here. I'm here to rewire my brain so that I can enjoy the learning process instead of being just completely focused on winning and being the best and the end goal. That is the whole point of all of this. So when I felt that way at school, it felt great. And I was so happy and so pleased that I had seen some improvement in my mindset, because that stuff takes so long to rewire. So, small story about one of the things that I am really loving at school. Okay, so enough about my personal history. Art. So I'm going to show you guys everything that we worked on in class, and it's not in order, so it might seem a little random, but it should give you a really good idea of sort of the types of projects that we are working on and the types of things that we're learning. So the first thing we did was sort of a placement test, which was definitely the most brutal day at school so far. At several points during this day, I was wondering if maybe I should have just stayed home and not even done this whole thing, because I struggled so much with this little exam that we did. But the different individual prompts were a character turnaround, drawing some facial expressions, all this from memory, I will add, no photo reference, drawing a character based on some given traits and a little paragraph description, and converting the perspective of a drawing that they gave us, and also drawing some other elements at a given perspective that would fit a certain style. So this was really, really a struggle for me. I left class feeling pretty dejected that day, but luckily things have improved since then. But I think this was really just to give them an idea of what level I was at, and also hopefully to have something to look back on, and you can see your improvement at the end of the year. This day we had to draw a character, any kind of character, something that spoke to us. That was really, really fun. I enjoyed that a lot. So this day we did a bunch of character design exercises and trying to increase our creativity in our character design. These ones are blind sketches, so you basically draw from a photo reference without looking at it, and then you use your sketch to inspire a stylized character design. We also did an exercise that was based on building characters within given silhouettes, which was super fun. And lastly, we did an exercise where you put different shapes together to create a character. And my first one I just thought was just so awful. So I did a second one, and I actually think it's much better, but it is a good indication of just how inconsistent my work is right now. I mean, if I do something that looks good, it's usually kind of a surprise, because most of the time it's just sort of a mess. So I have a lot of room for improvement, but it's crazy to me that you could create two things that look so different, one seemingly so much better than the other. But that's just how it is when you're a beginner. This exercise was more of a technical one, trying to use the lasso tool to create shapes. This was very bad, very, very bad. And we also did a bunch of value studies. So these are from still lifes from life, where you break down the different levels of black into 5, 3, or 2 value drawing, and you try and create interesting shapes and try and capture the value with less values, and all with hard edges, just so you're focusing only on value. So the last thing was we had to create a scene that told a story. And in this particular version, it had to be some sort of a crime. So mine was a child abduction, which sounds really scary, but the story in my head is less intense than that. But yeah, this was really tough. I'm not used to thinking in this way. I'm much used to doing kind of like more literal things and focusing less on narrative. So it's cool to start trying to think more in a narrative way. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you next time.